it comes to fuel saving, I always try to be very proactive about it. So in our sport, before the guys are even telling me, hey, we need to save a little bit of fuel, I've already done it.
There's not only one way to save fuel, but yeah, you always kind of continuously work and with the engineer to try and find the best way to do it.
If I'm not in a position where I am trying to get by somebody, if I'm in a position where I'm kind of holding even, I'm going to save fuel.
Some engines respond to short shifting or being lower in revs, or just kind of tapering off on throttle at the end of the straights. Sometimes none of this really matters, and it's all about the mapping.
Engine mapping is the easiest way to do it. It's the most fun way to do it. And most cars nowadays have engine mapping. GT3 cars to Indy cars, all the stuff.
It's a real technique that takes time to work at it. But the lift and coast, that's when the engine is cut or fuel's cut to the engine, and you're saving most of your fuel. But also, if you can get it to roll through, keep that mid-corner speed up, and then having to go to the throttle later too keeps that fuel shut off going for longer.
Rather than braking at the 300 or 250 board, you might brake it or let off the throttle before the 500, and so you lose a couple of tenths of a second just in that sort of zone. But when you brake later, you can almost roll more speed because you're not using the brakes as much, and so you can kind of gain some of that time back.
The key is to manage the cost, obviously, and brake the least amount possible so you can carry that speed anyways mid-corner, get back to throttle.
Saving fuel in between the twisty bits where you're not on throttle maybe more than a couple of seconds, saving a half a second there is not going to make a big difference. The long straights are the easiest places to gain.
You also need a very neutral car to be able to save a lot of fuel because that means you will brake less with a neutral car than you would with an understeer car. So the trick is to have the right balance and basically try to brake the least amount possible.
If it's just a mapping thing, it's you just give up a little bit of pace, obviously, on all around the lap on acceleration and straights, and then if it's on you, then the higher the speed, the less penalty you get. So usually end of straight is a very efficient way to do it.
You can short shift, not use all the RPMs, or when you get to top gear, just use a slight maintenance throttle, or if you get in a severe case, depending on the way that the engine is tuned, you can always utilize just clutching and coast. But the clutch and coast is kind of it can bite you, particularly in racing, not under yellow. If you're in racing action and you do the clutch and coast, you have to be careful when you release the clutch back out because it can grab and catch you out.
It is very anti-racing. It is not what racers like to do, but it is sometimes what's going to win you a race.